Good evening, Mr. Muir.
We're back.
I've had a 4-month layoff. Have nothing to talk about. Except for today. Jimmy, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. Quite a 4-month layoff from when we last did our podcast. Things have certainly changed.
Trust me, this wasn't planned. I've posted nothing on my Facebook site. And speaking of Facebook site, you can follow us on Facebook. Links in the description below us.
Hey, we got to, before we start here. Quick's already texted us. We haven't even talked.
What is he texting us now?
It's like you eat it.
I what?
He says you eat it. I don't know what he's talking about.
When did he message you?
Just a few seconds ago.
Just send me the damn thing.
He says eat it.
I can't even understand. What did he say?
Enough said.
What did he say?
He said eat it. That's what he said.
All right, fine.
By the way, happy St. Patrick's Day to our Irish community out there.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. I know Quigley's having probably a good Reuben meal at
Shout out to the Mansard Inn tonight for
yes, that's what I meant. Mansard Inn up in Orchard Park off of Abbott Road. Those guys are phenomenal. So the big news of the day that Ralph Kreuger and assistant coach Steve Smith were let go, relieved of their duties. It was definitely coming after this 12-game losing streak. And what seemed on paper this year to be a more talented team than in previous years are having the worst record in franchise history. And that's even worse than the tank for Connor McDavid year.
Yeah, yeah. This is probably undescribable. This is probably the lowest of lows that this franchise has been. And even with the tank year 2015, this is clearly the lowest point that I believe this organization has been. Talk, as you said, on paper this year. Granted, with the COVID, shortening the season this year. This was supposed to be. You had Terry Hall, Eric Stahl on the team, Cody Eakin, and Greer. Supposed to bring more scoring, more better kill, more whatever. And all we've gotten is the worst record. This is just perplexing. I mean, I have a lot more to say on it. I'm sure you have. So let's dig into this.
Yes. When watching these games for the past even 12 games plus before that, you can honestly tell that this team was not playing the way Kreuger wanted.
No, and you look at what happened with the COVID outbreak back a couple months ago. It was a 4-4-2 record. They had the COVID break 10 days. Then they came back. They started off slow. They got that win against New Jersey. Then after that, I mean, the team is totally The team we just totally lost in a manner which I've never seen. You could talk about, Jack being injured. You could talk about being, risk the line, the McCabe injury. You could talk all this team just flat out sucks right now.
I don't want to say we haven't seen this level of performance before because we've seen it over the past close to 10 years now. No matter what coach or GM you bring in, no matter what players this team has brought in. I mean, yeah, they've sucked. And speaking of coaches and general managers, you started Ron Rolston, Ted Nolan, Dan Bylsma, Phil Housley, and now the latest victim is Ralph Kreuger. Don't forget Tim Murray and Jason Bottom. I forget his name already.
That's 7 head coaches and 3 GMs later. And
that's not even including Lindy Ruff, by the way.
Or Don Granado is just the intern coach, or Ron Rolston, or what is it? I don't know.
Is it the water? I have no idea. There have definitely been missteps in this organization over the past 10 years. And it's definitely led to this team end up like the Bills' 17-year playoff drought, where you have talented players, but you don't have a team. And you bring in coach after GM, after coach, after coach, after GM, and it's gone down the tube. I might as well just throw Drano down.
Yeah, I
sound like a broken record. How many times have we heard press conference after press conference after press conference? I mean, you can look it up on YouTube. It's all there. I was watching some stuff last night at my cousin's house. Watching Leonard Kennedy, the coach. I want to throw a garbage can.
That's right. We did see that.
After New Jersey lost, you couldn't beat New Jersey.
But we'll get to Adam's press conference in a minute. But yeah, I mean, if you can't beat New Jersey, you shouldn't be involved in the league. Let's just be honest. I mean, even the night before against Washington, the lack of performance, the lack of effort, the lack of passion. I mean, does that not speak about a team that's shut down on its coach? I mean,
it sounds like somebody took up the Bismol and had it cleared out.
I've seen all this team in 10 years. Flat out, period.
No, I've seen worse. I've seen the same damn thing over and over. It's like going to that same pile of garbage over and over and over. Last night wasn't the worst performance. But you get shut out by the Islanders. Or not even shut out. You lost 5-2, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And then you go to lose to Washington Capitals, 6-0. Your second periods have been clapped. Darlene's regress. Yogi Har's regress. You gotta say more. Eric Stone was supposed to help our team. He's regressed. Well, let's age hit the wall again.
You're right. If
Jack Eichel's been hurt all year.
It's been a
trend line. A player. Skinner can't even buy a goal.
Except for last night.
Thank God.
Golly. I mean.
And he's underperforming.
I mean, we can go on and on. I mean, but the lack of
weekend is underperforming.
But you look at Sam Ryder's comments from Monday night, and it's like there's been no answers. We always hear no answers.
It hasn't been answered for 10 years. Now there hasn't been answers any time the coach got fired. Losing sucks. I hate losing. Nobody wants to lose. It's like I'm drinking Gatorade. There's no flavor.
Well, this season has been with no flavor. But the press conference with Ralph Kreuger was positive. I mean, this this has just been same thing over again. Positive, trying to get positive, and you preach. But after a while, it just we're on the players, the defensive, the system did not fit the players we had. It's absolute. It's like I said, it's an absolute train wreck. And I see in your chat, I'm frustrated. So let's move on to Donnie Gurnall is taking over as interim head coach. So as I said, Steve Smith, also Matt Allison, Dan Girardi are taking over assistants. The main staff stays that guys for the foreseeable future. So obviously we know Donnie Gurnall has been a head coach for throughout his career in college and pros. I mean, the people like him. Obviously he had the health scare last year, and better. Matt Ellis has been involved with the Harbor Center. Has been part of the player development side of things. Dan Girardi, 19-year veteran of the NHL, most of it played for the Rangers. One of the best defensemen respected. What do we think about this? To me, Donnie Gurnall, but Matt Allison, these are two guys that are going to hold the team accountable. This is, and we've talked about this throughout the past about the accountability. Well, here are two guys that can, hold two coaches that hold this team accountable. If there's any weak apples in this team, if there's guys, they're going to expose it. This wrestling is not about making bumps. It's identifying your weak spots, weak players. It's identifying what who wants it and who doesn't want it. This is not about holding your hand anymore. This is about big boy. You got to play with pride here. You got to play with passion. You got to earn every single inch of your ice time here. And if you don't, then you're out.
This also gives the Sabres, and more specifically Kevin Adams, an opportunity to see what he wants to do going forward with this team. I can hear my echo, obviously.
Thanks, Jason, for that comment. But not comment. But go ahead, Fred.
Okay. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate the active feedback. I'm probably as frustrated as your Baltimore Ravens losing to the Bills this year.
Ouch. There's a but Kevin Adams touched as press conference about the pride aspect. The lack of pride that's being shown by the players. As I said, this okay. So
yeah, I just testing it out.
Okay. Pride here. We're gonna find out who has pride and who doesn't. I mean, because Matt Ellis, they're not gonna hide it. The excuses, as I said, the excuses are out the window. This is about assessing the team. But assessing the young talent that we have and how we're going to move forward with this.
Agreed. I know the instigators touched on it. Probably everybody in the media has touched on it, local media. So they all have their opinions on, or their thoughts on where this team may go. John Vogel made a list of coaching candidates. You can see it on the Athletic. I'm not going to go into that tonight. Maybe some other time. I don't want to say maybe. Eventually, we'll get there. It's too early. It's March. The season's not even over yet.
No, it's not. Well, let's touch on the Kevin Adams press conference. If you remember 2 weeks ago, he called the season unacceptable. He called the play on the ice unacceptable. He obviously talked about he talked to Pegula's this last week and a half, as we found out. There's a lot. So a couple points I wanted to touch on. So let's touch on some of the points of the press conference here. Talk about the play for Pride. This team right here, in general, has such a he talked about the sloppiness in practice that he was seeing. He talked about the lack of pride. That's how it's been. That's how this organization has been for the last lack of pride, emotion. This has been the summary of the 10 years of the 10-year drought of the playoffs. Lack of passion, lack of pride, lack of accountability. This is pretty much sums it up.
I'll go even a couple further. Lack of grit that you had 5-6 years ago. Besides Gerstens, you had at least you had Foligno, which you traded to Minnesota. He's doing well. If Zach Cashin turned out differently, was mature, we could have had him. Greg McNabb. I could go on and on about the depth that we could have had right now that got traded away. I've said this before. This is nothing new. But I'm reiterated for the fact of the matter is that you could have had all of it, and I think you would have been a lot better than what your record is now, what your record was a year ago, and the year before.
Okay, I'm going to read the quote. I'm going to read the quote that Kevin Adams did. This is a quote from Buffalo. This is during for Mike. There has to be a pride that goes. There has to be a pride that goes with putting on a Buffalo Sabres jersey. There has to be a pride showing up every day and being a national hockey player. Something has to be. There has to be something that drives you inside and out to be better every single day. To look around at City Buffalo and see Sabres hats and jersey signs, people wearing jerseys. That matters. And that has to be within the DNA of our team. So not only does this sum up his frustration, but it sums up the fans' frustration. What was that? The last time we've seen this effort was 10 years ago. And now it seems, 10 years later, it's 10 years has gone by. And we're a team with no passion, no pride, no connection to jersey. I'm sorry if I repeat myself, but the standard has fallen so far down that you got no clear direction.
I was laughing so hard the other night how bad this team was falling apart again. Even against New Jersey, it was just like I couldn't get mad at them anymore. It was too comical. I know a lot of fans have probably reached that point last year and the year before. And before the firing, and I think after the COVID break, I was defending Kreuger, saying it wasn't until Kreuger and I blamed it on the COVID break, and these players need to get back. And just never happened. And as a fan going through this, I think a lot of fans are absolutely fed up and ticked off. And it gets worse every game, every minute. There's so many people mad at the team. There's people mad at the Pagulas and wanting them to sell the team. I'm not going there. I'm not going to go into the Twitter BS that goes on. I'm just not going there. But in having said all that, Jimbo, the criticism for this organization is justly due because it just hasn't worked. And when you hear from these owners and everything, it's like a broken record. On the Sabres side. Not on the Bills side, but the Sabres side.
Exactly. And this is the other they just talk about moving this team forward. You know, the other thing that they talk about is trying to get this team on the right track. You know, we've seen this, as I said, we've seen this organization gone so far downhill that the perception of this team has been a laughingstock. And you talk about heard from former captains how miserable this team's been to watch. The fact that, you know, fans don't even want to renew season tickets.
The fans don't even want to come.
Exactly.
And I don't blame them.
Well, nobody should. Let's just be honest. Nobody should. Of course, this is now Kevin has to take the bull by the reins here.
I mean, I think he has to. I think he recognizes it. Only time will tell if he actually succeeds or fails. I can't get my hopes up at this point, and I don't want to. Because we've been down this road one too many times as fans of this team, as citizens of this community, and just in general, as human beings, we don't like this team losing and not getting effort. So I just want to see. I'm sorry if I'm talking slow, but I really just want to see just how this season goes here. What they're going to do throughout season, where we're going to draft, and how this unfolds. That's the best that I can look to for the Sabres for the rest of the season. Otherwise, it's oblivious to me. This team has made a lot of fans lost their love for this team, hockey, and I think I'm one of them lately. I've lost my passion to watch this team lose and lose over. Even when Darcy said they're being suffered, I didn't think it was going to be this long. And I'm 29 now. You're 29 now. It's disgusting, disheartening, and just plain dismal.
Yeah, this is the part of the frustration that we all as fans are experiencing, have been experiencing, and experiencing. This has just been one of the most tough seasons we've ever had to endure here. So let's switch gears here and talk about this team moving forward. So, we obviously know that change is going to happen no matter what. Let's obviously this is going to have to tie into who Kevin Ayers hires as the coach here. Here, in my opinion, because like I said, this team has not won for 10. Hasn't been in place for 10 years. you've gotten Jack Eichel, who's a superstar player, but in his 6 seasons have not made the playoffs. So
Lane's been here longer. I mean, Ristolain's been here longer. Sam was here a little bit longer. I know McCabe has. If you're going to keep the core intact, then you're bringing an experienced head coach. I don't know if I'm sold on Bruce Boudreau, or how to pronounce his name. I'll butcher his name like Kreuger.
Boudreau.
Okay, Boudreau. I'm not sold on a few others. I wouldn't mind Gerard Gallant. I may be interested in Steve Ott, even though he's a former Sabre. Dallas Star. I know people may not like that idea since he's been a former Sabre. People are probably tired of bringing people that were former Sabres. To me, it doesn't matter at this point.
To jump in, I mean, I'm not going to. We'll get to our time on that part, but as far as the overall roster direction, my thoughts, my take on this is that this is something I've been jumping back and forth all year because Jack Eichel, you've had him for a few more years, but the problem is you're in a tough situation as an organization here. There's been so much trade rumors about Jack Eichel, about where his obviously. So my question is, Fred, if you're Captain Adams, do you keep him or do you move him for get assets?
That's a hard question to answer at this point. I mean, you got to look at every option. I mean, you can't be against it and you can't be for it. You got to look at everything with this team. If you can acquire a good amount of prospects or top elite prospects and picks, as Reinhardt in the conversation, Hall, it's not going to be like a full reboot. It's going to be a fresh start for everything. It's Kreuger for it. If you're going to keep Eichel, I mean, I don't think you're going to bring Sam right now back because he's going to command more money. I think that's why you picked Jack Quinn this past year to replace him. I mean, I might see Skitter being taken to Seattle. Maybe Ristolainen too. I don't know. I don't have an answer totally, but I mean, I believe it's going to be up to everybody. I don't see Brandon Montour back.
I agree.
I think you have upcoming prospects in Borgen, and Borgen's proved this year in the NHL. I've been very impressed with Jacob Bryson. I actually like Dylan Cousins. He also could play center. I think he kind of proved that in his first game being a true center before he got injured by Pittsburgh. That was another thing I was pissed about, how Pittsburgh leveled him. There was no fight other than Colin Miller. But that's no here nor there. I mean, there are good pieces to this roster. I think Dowling is salvageable. He's still young. I know Craig was talking about Matthias Samuelsson. He's big, physical, fast, 6'5". He said it in his show. Truthfully, I wanted to drive a scooter up a Subaru.
So here's my thoughts on this because I've been debating this back and forth for months now about whether or not I should trade Jack Eichel. And this is a tough one because I love Jack. I selfishly want to keep Jack Eichel because he's one of the best players in the league by far. He's not obviously not Connor McDavid, but he's a generation. The problem is he's on a $10 million a year contract. He's been with this organization for 6 years, and he's been in a losing environment. In my opinion, I would have to, even though I don't want to trade him, I have to look at every possibility. Ability of getting assets back, because those assets can turn into first round picks and players that can help you down the long road. Oh, I see. The troubles in Buff. This is Darlene's stats here.
No, this ain't Darlene's stat. This is the organization.
Yeah. So obviously, if I would definitely consider trading Eichel. It's not because of him, because clearly the organization, in my opinion, has failed Jack Eichel. This is not it's failed miserably. You didn't build around him. You didn't stock him with the talent pool that you should have. He's been in such a losing environment. Same thing with Risto. And
Reinhardt.
And Reinhardt too. And Reinhardt. I think, like you said, it's I certainly don't want them, but in my opinion, you have to start fresh. And that you can't just continue. It's like we were saying, it's going to be tougher to build around a $10 million contract. If you get rid of that contract,
Matthews and McDavid make more, but I mean,
right? Yeah, but if
you're going to factor in the Fosso contract that was signed by Tim Murray that kind of handcuffed this team, and then the $9 million Skinner deal that was signed that's kind of also handcuffed this team a bit. So,
I think you're right, and that's the other thing. This team's been handcuffed because of salary. So if I'm Kevin Adams, if I feel like I need to move in a totally different direction, I need to be getting rid of these contracts. I need to say, you know what, we're going to start fresh with young players, and we're going to build this right. We're going to learn from our mistakes from the previous regimes and build this team right, so that we don't have another 10 years of losing, that we don't have another of the same conversation. So is it going to take some time? Yes. But if I'm Kevin Adams, I have to look at our long term right now. And if I can get the assets built around to, like a Kirby Doc with Rasmus Dahlin, or a Quentin Byfield, or some pieces around it, then I'd be all for it. As much as we sit here and talk about, wanting to keep a Jack Eichel, he's 24 years old. He's entered a prime of his career. And if I'm the organization, I would owe him to train a team that's a contending team. You owe him that and say, look, we've got as far as we can with you. We know it's not. We know you want to stay, but we need to, for you and the organization, it's best for both of us to move on. Eichel has not said he wants to be traded, but if I'm Kevin Adams, I have a sit-down conversation with you. He's always, but I would go in the off season and say, look, I know you want to be part of the solution, but we owe it. But based on the situation and based where we're at, it's best that we both move on. That's what I would say. Look, whatever we have to do.
And I'm just trying different cinema modes. I'll explain in a moment, but go ahead.
Yeah. But going back to my point, you have to look at that option. Listen, all options are on the table. You can't just, even Sam Reinhart, as you said, he's an unrestricted free agent this upcoming year. Again, having a great season, but however, again, he's been part of this environment. So if you do those players plus the Skinner contract, you could be looking at a totally different team next year. Now, does it have to be one or both? I don't know. But you have to, as I said, if you're Ken Adams, you have to look at the long-term future and say, is this worth keeping? Is it worth keeping Jack around, or do we need to start fresh and tear this team down? In my opinion, you have to start fresh. You can't just, again, I don't know what they're going to do this offseason. I don't, but
I think the fans will either like the idea of being, how I put this, they will like the idea of Jacob being traded, or they won't like it. They will like the idea of Sam Meyer being traded. They won't like it. I mean, same with Ristolainen. I mean, it's not a winning proposition.
But to quote Adams, this is about moving forward. So if
I know it's about moving forward, Jimbo, but I also feel like it's also what is the vision? What is the plan? I mean, what are the scenarios that this team needs to do? I mean, we can go down that road, or we can go down our road. Either way, it's got to work, and it's definitely got to pay off. And I can't stress that enough.
Right. I think that's why this coach hire, this assistant GM hire and this coach is so important to get right, because
I mean, the assistant GM thing was brought up today, and I guess they are looking for assistant GM, probably with some experience and trust. Don't know what that is. Won't know until that point. But I mean, it looks like they're trying to get pieces in the front office as well, because I don't think Kevin Adams can do it alone.
Well, I agree. It shouldn't be on his own.
Not that he's not on his own, but I mean,
right.
Another help to navigate.
Right. That's important. And you're right. You're right. I think in my opinion, you need veteran leadership. You need someone who's had previous experience as a GM to guide the ship, help Kevin Adams build this team right. Because we're at a critical junction now where it's been 6 years. As I said, it's been 6 years to Jack Eichel. This is 10 years of not making the playoffs. So the first thing had to obviously Kreuger had to get, because we all know it wasn't working. But again, this is an opportunity for this team to get the ship steered right, as I said. So the person that they hire as assistant GM and the coach is going to determine, I feel, it's going to determine the direction of this team. If they hire a better coach, then I think they're going to keep Jack Eichel. If they're going to do, then you might get someone with a college coach. So,
well, there lies in the answer of what they're going to do with Jack Eichel is what you brought up, and what I think others have. So, I mean, that's the million-dollar question that will be answered in time. I just don't know at this point.
Well, nobody knows. But like I said, nobody knows. And I mean, I think like I said, this is a chance to get things done right, because clearly what they've tried doing hasn't been working. You know, we all know it. We all feel it as fans. We all feel it as and the organization knows it. So
Yes, I think we all can agree with what you said, and that's about sums it up, basically. Quick notes before we end this stream. Wallace was re-signed to a one-year contract. He was an RFA. Lee Smith was traded. Yeah,
I know there's been so much talked about the Sabres coach, but let's talk about the Bills for a little bit. They re-signed Levi Wallace for a one-year contract. They got Emmanuel Sanders on a one-year contract.
I forgot to add that. There's a lot of things I'm forgetting to add tonight.
I mean, seriously, the Bills are loading up here. I mean, as much as it's obviously frustrating to talk about Sabres, but the Bills, my God,
that's a different story on that one.
Yeah,
let's talk about Bills for a moment. I mean, there were players that were buying into at least restructuring their deals to help the team out, which is amazing. When was the last time we heard that about that in Buffalo? Quite a long time. Certainly not in my lifetime. But I'm so happy to see this team grow from what it was 4 years ago with McDermott and Bean, Josh Allen. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, man.
Well, yeah, just like the Bills were super for 17 years, and then they got the right GM and coach, and look how that's turned out. So I think for the Sabres, go back to Sabres briefly, this should be the model going forward that you can turn things around. This is that. And if I'm Kevin Adams, I would talk to Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott more and say, what did you have to – the formula was get rid of the people that weren't buying culture and get people that buy into the culture. Get that have the mindset. The culture guys that that could change this organization around. So if I'm Kevin Adams, that's who I'd be looking to as well. As far as Lee Smith, so
there's not much I'm going to say about that. I mean, you're a great veteran. I mean, nice to have him around. There was rumors of Zach Ertz maybe heading to the Bills, but I mean, it has not come to fruition yet. I mean, love to see him on our team. Help build that roster into a Super Bowl contender. Gronkowski will never be a Buffalo Bill. He wants to keep it real with Tom Brady. And that's fine and dandy. But you can't call himself a Buffalonian anymore.
You guys not. All right. I'm done.
I'm exhausted already.
Yeah, it's been a long day, and trust me. I mean, this is a sad day for the organization, for the Sabres.
I don't know if it's a sad day for the organization. It's just disappointing.
Yeah, you can say that. I mean, we've had many sad days, but this is probably the saddest of them all. Let's just be honest.
This is the most miserable of them all.
Yes, miserable.
Or the most relieved that I felt. Oh, I see my spelling mistakes again. Takers, Lakers, Dan Granado, takers, takes. I can't get anything right, can I?
Now, by the way, how did we do it for our first podcast? Go in the comments below. Tell us how we did it with our first podcast back. Give us some feedback.
Again, I'll post this up there. Also,
You forgot my my new show.
I'm not there yet. We haven't set it up yet. I know it, we'll get to it. Now, if you noticed that we are not using StreamYard, we tried doing a podcast a couple months ago, and we had issues trying to connect with one of our usual contributors, Mike Toledo. Uh, First time I ever had issues with StreamYard, and so I'm trying Restream, and I'm seeming to like it so far. I like the fact that I can. I was trying some of the graphics, as you can see on this live stream. Um, if I wanted to add my own graphics, I had to upgrade, but I won't do that yet. Uh, but seems like it's. I kind of like this presentation over StreamYard's presentation.
It's a really nice, this presentation is a lot better than I expected. Again, this is our first time using Restream. The intro was great. Actually, doing the intro was this intro. You put like the content, like beep, beep, beep. I like that. That really gets into our show pretty well. So we'll be doing that more often. Again,
I'd like to do a couple of shows on Twitch. If able to try that. It's been over a year since the start of COVID. I haven't done like a live show at Kreuger's Barn. Love to do that again when the time's right. But yeah, seems like I enjoy using this over StreamYard. Nothing against StreamYard, but I think having those issues and trying this tonight, this got some different features. Picture in picture. This is the normal view that we like to usually use. But I don't mind having the overlay.
the overlay's nice.
Oh, I can switch this too. I didn't realize that. That's perfect.
See, now I'm the host of the show now.
Yes. So yeah, I like playing around with this.
Yeah. All right. Just follow us on Facebook at Stop Interrupting Me Podcast West New York.
I haven't posted much on there. I'll try to do some more posting if there's any.
Do you want me to make my announcement, or do you want me to
your two fiery buffaloes announcement? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah. So I've announced it. So we're going to be doing an event. We've been wanting to do this, my second podcast. This is going to be my show called Two Fiery Buffaloes. We were supposed to do it last year, but unfortunately, with the COVID and stuff, that got derailed. So this new show is going to be called Two Fiery Buffaloes. We have I'll be one of the co-hosts on the show. I don't know who I'm going to have for a co-host yet.
It won't be me all the time.
No, it won't. So that's going to be a new show. I mean, well, I've been playing on it for months, but I haven't really got to it. So,
that's typical with us.
Yeah, we never really. So it's my brand new podcast. I'm sure most of you've seen the logo's already been up for a while now. So, hopefully we can do a show when the weather's more, maybe like in April or sometime. I'll be trying to get some show together, get a co-host with me, so we can, because if you thought this show was crazy enough, we're gonna have some really crazy discussions on that podcast. If you thought I was animated on this one, wait until this new show comes around. It's going to be. And yes, replays on YouTube at Fred Ortiz YouTube channel.
I had to put that plug in there.
Oh, I know.
You're going an hour with this show. So, thank you for tuning in.
And dealing with us two for an hour.
Of course. I think the live stream will be. Oh, Jason.
What
That's
does he want?
He says that's better if you can see both of your mugs.
I don't have a mug on me.
I need better guest speakers. I love better guest speakers. It's hard to find them. What do we gotta go on Facebook? What you would call it? Marketplace to get them? Or how about eBay?
Jason, you need to come on. Seriously, we need to. I know we.
Just for the fact, Jason, if you want to come on our show to rant us and how do I put this? To say the Baltimore Ravens are a better franchise than the Buffalo Bills, I'd be all for it.
I'll be all for it. I mean, I'll be all for it. You know, why don't we get Ryan on the pod? Well, yeah, we should have a show with all four of us.
No.
Yeah,
Ryan would laugh our asses off. We wouldn't even know what to do with ourselves.
Why not? Right, why not? Let's just. I mean,
I don't know. All right, I'm checking out. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Take care.
We'll see you next time on the Stop Interrupting Me podcast. By the way, we haven't interrupted each other.